I'm so grateful to present to others and to acquaint to some Dr. Jim Marinakis. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Jody,
We made
I've been listening to this summit for a while. I've had the opportunity to do that, something I don't always get a chance to do when I want, due to other responsibilities I have in life. But it was wonderful to listen to the people talk, particularly about awareness. And I tuned in about the time Ulysses started. And all of these presentations that you organize and present are just filled with a richness of information that anybody could benefit from. The whole world should tune into these things. It's like putting storage in a shelf and keeping it there until you need it. But since it's about awareness, I want to talk about that a little bit. You know, my background. Go ahead.
please, please do. This time is yours, and I'll come back a little later.
You know, awareness is an interesting word. The idea that real men are aware is something that is not thought about very often and acted out even less. But it's happening more than ever in the world. And it's awareness that enables a person to recognize the present moment's experience. And without it, you're living, but you're not recognizing what's taking place. In other words, you're not really human. Animals are living. They experience what takes place in the moment, but not the way humans do. Their ability to recognize the experience changes. A while ago, you were talking, Jody was talking with Sai, I believe his name was, and I was listening to him talk about the varied background that he had and all the different things he had done, which requires awareness. That's what enabled him to have all those different experiences. And they started talking about pay attention, and they kicked the words back and forth. And there's a lot of meaning there. But when your awareness comes in, it brings you to the experience that the meaning of those words is meant to have for you at the time, because this is a spiritual thing. Pay attention or pay. If you don't pay attention, it's going to cost you. If it already has, and it's time for you to pay, it's saying pay, you owe, pay, or pay attention. Either way, it's the truth. This is what awareness is about. And without awareness enables you to, through insight, gain from the personal experience wisdom. And isn't that what we're seeking? Isn't this the Father, the Creator, is the wise one? So this is like a stepping stone or a ladder to the elevation of one's consciousness along life's journeys. And I've found myself observing this. I've found myself living this, expressing it, and being this throughout my life. And here I am to this day, enamored to see it in others and to enjoy it. It is grace itself. And not to capture this through awareness is giving up something that's purely human. And this is what was given to us that made us what we are. The reason why the earth has been given to mankind and all the creatures on it is because he has this inductive ability, this awareness. And that enables him to care for things and to learn from them. And there's no limits to this. In fact, mankind will take this lesson that we call earth, and they will bring it to the heavens and seed the universe. The things that we're learning here, that we have learned, and will learn before we depart will be carried to the four corners of the universe. And for those of you that have an interest in the universe or pay attention to it, you may well know that up until fairly recently, the entire universe was looked at through the light spectrum. And we saw it through the Hubble telescope. Prior to that, other types of telescope. But the Hubble telescope was more powerful and enabled us to see much more of the known universe than what had ever been looked at before. And we were all amazed, those of us that paid attention or who found out what was revealed through the Hubble telescope, saw how magnificent and grand the universe was. Recently, the universe has been looked at through an infrared or the wave telescope. For those of you that know about that, you won't be surprised to find out that what this revealed was almost inexplicable. Everything we saw in the Hubble telescope was literally 1% to 2% of creation. That's all we were looking at. We saw the tiniest speck representation of creation. And we are living in that portion of it. But we're also living in the rest of it, which is 44 times bigger than everything we knew that we were through the Hubble telescope. This is awareness. Awareness doesn't just come from inside of you or through a man. It comes through everything and anything that you can perceive as a human being. Everybody found out about the universe through the wave telescope. And we can talk about it and think about it. And for those of you that are interested in the subject, I suggest that you watch Attenborough's work. But look at it with a grain of salt, because there are contentions that are made in David Attenborough's presentation that you may see beyond. Your awareness may carry you further into the universe itself than what he and his awareness was capable of carrying him through. And I don't think that people should bridle themselves with what somebody else perceives, regardless of the due respect that any individual has. It doesn't inhibit or limit you to a greater perception of reality through your own awareness. We are destined to do this. We're all designed to give to each other, and we should. It makes life wonderful. In a sense, giving back and forth is really the stock in trade that we have for one another, because we're here living in a space that was created for us. And we were given the freedom to co-create it because we are a part of and created in the image and likeness of what created us. And I think that all men should remember that through the exercise of their own awareness.
And that, yes, and your awareness, it was, you have such a fan club, Dr. Jim. Your son sent me like 35 texts. Are you recording this? Yes, you're everywhere. You will be everywhere. You can watch these replays. We'll have shorts about this until our book launch in September and beyond. We're on YouTube, Healthopedia 365, on Facebook at Healthopedia, Coach Jody on X, Dr. Dee Baer on LinkedIn, and of course, like I said, on Facebook and Instagram on Healthopedia 365. We're everywhere because this message needs to be everywhere, Dr. Jim. But that just kind of ties in to what you said, as you unite. I love your quote. And of course, that just came off of one conversation. I said, wait a minute, I got to get this down. So share with us where the wisdom of this quote came from. It came from your awareness. I know that, but then it went to your wisdom. Only a real man can unite with a woman and make a holy person.
Well, from the one, the all came the male and the female. They were both contained within the one. So, in order to reunite, one must join together with the female, and that has to happen in every way, virtually, of course. And the idea of this union is one of the oldest institutions. There are sacred relationships, obviously, the one between each individual, male or female, and the Creator is the most sacred relationship we have. After that is the relationship between the man and the woman.
Mhm.
And it you can't realize everything you are without that relationship, without that union. And of course, we were graced with the ability to experience and see ourselves on the outside through each other, only through a man and a woman. So without that combination, there's no entirety. And
Mm.
even being created, each and every one of us, in the image and likeness. This is the spirit. It can't be contained. It can't be confined in any way. And it is liberated in every way so that each and every one of us can connect and each and every one of us can align. And at a certain point, the only thing you can do is experience the awe, which is what we are about.
The alignment, awareness, abundance, awareness, alignment will change abundance to awe in this case, as we did with our saying in Aruba. I really wanted you to bring in, if you would care to, something that you said a few days ago when we were just having one of our conversations, and you said that when a man looked and, you know, the Satan, God came down to Adam and said that whole conversation. Would you, the way you stated this, I know you'll remember how to say this exactly. And we were talking about, and it wasn't even a context; it just came out of nowhere, Dr. Jim. And because whether we were talking about the battle of the sexes, or we were talking about Harrison's book, Badass Bitches, or what it was, not sure what, but I just, if you'd like to share a little bit of that connotation, it'd be wonderful.
Well, isn't this just us having a conversation right now?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that what you're referring to may be the way I paraphrase the conversation between the Creator and the highest angel that fell from grace. Grace is wisdom, love, the
Correct.
Creator. And in a dialogue that we know of from the only way that we know of a supreme being or something greater than ourselves, or the fact that we were created in the image and likeness of the Creator, it came from a text, a transmission that was generated to a human that could memorialize it. It appears in ancient texts, it appears in the Bible, and it's a conversation between the Creator and the highest angel. Angels are not human beings. Human beings were created, the ultimate creation. God manifest, put into the material plane in its own image and likeness. And we know this from that story. And of course, Lucifer did not want to serve man. And he told God that man wanted to be like him. They wanted to control or rule the world. And he didn't want to serve mankind. And God told him, no, you're mistaken. And he says, yeah, if you let me have my way, I'll show you that that's how they are. He goes, really? He says, all right, I'll tell you what, buddy. You can do anything you want to these people, these humans, except kill them. Only we can do that. And he says, at the end of an age, when you realize that you're lying, he told God that God wasn't telling the truth, that he was telling the truth. So basically, he called God a liar. So God says, when you realize that you're the liar, then I'm going to put you away for 1,000 years, someplace you're not going to like. So I think this is the conversation that we were talking about. And then
But this, that was how keep going.
Then the things go back to people. And of course, the first two people in the story were Adam and Eve. Right?
Yes.
Okay. And so how did things change from this utopian garden? What took place? And the story tells all.
Yes.
And Adam partook of the sacred fruit. And God looks at Adam and says, Adam, I told you not to partake of the fruit of the center of the tree of life. Why did you do that? And you kind of know what he was talking about because he covered his genitals with a fig leaf. And so he looks at God and he goes, well, listen, it was that woman that you gave me. This is classic. So in that moment, what was it that Adam did? He elevated woman above himself before God. And God said, okay, this is the direction you're headed in. And this is what lies ahead for you. And Adam went. Adam was fearless. Adam didn't worry about it. And some people think that this was some kind of a curse or a falling from God. It was an adventure. We're living it. We are part of that adventure. We are the descendants. We are here learning every single thing to fulfill the Creator's purpose. And the only way we can do that is to decode every single piece and particle of creation to duplicate it everywhere in the universe. And to do that, we have dissected it, or broken it down, if you will, until we understand every single thing about it to go forth and recreate what we were shown, what was created here, which is our purpose. There's no ultimate bad or evil. It's a stimuli. And Lucifer's temptations don't work. He can get other people to kill for him. There are people that'll kill other people. But what does that mean? If God said only we can do that, how can a human being do that? I'm not going to tell you the answer to that question. You're going to have to figure that out. And if you can't, you can call me and then I'll talk to you about it. Because this was something that puzzled me for a long time. It wasn't a short time coming, but the light goes on really bright when you actually comprehend what's being said in this dialogue. And it's a liberation of mankind in its entirety, because it enables you to realize how completely guiltless we are. But you have to see that, and you have to accept it in a way that frees you from the burden of all the existence that you ever had, so that you can become free. That only comes through the elimination of guilt and all the other things that chain people to the lie rather than the reality. And your awareness is the key that unlocks that lock.
And then there's wisdom, and your wisdom, Jim, it's just absolutely amazing. I can only imagine. I had just put in the virtual summit in our run sheet. You know how I do this. I'm spreadsheet driven. And said, well, you don't have your title, your title usually is the last thing I put on a book. I've gotten used to it at this point. But it's always worth the wait. But I just put the mind of a man. Well, we've just heard that mind, and what a fitting and beautiful way to finish this out. I just wanted to take one pause, and something that I did not do when I was saying sponsors. It's just being thankful for the community that we've had here. First of all, I want to thank Mike King for being the relentless wrangler back here on Air Legs for the last 12 hours. Mike has been with us, Jim, a long time, and it's just been wonderful to see him backstage. And yesterday, Chris Cordani of Argonne Productions, and today, Toya Glenn of Go Giga Productions. It really does take a community, and thank you very much for everything that we did. We had a few glitches, but it all comes together, and it doesn't matter. It is always in perfect harmony, like your son said, that we flow. So in winding this up, I want to just ask you, what are your last pieces of wisdom? There's always another piece in there as you go through. As you said, my next phase is to do this for the health of humanity in the social pillar. That's the sixth pillar. So what comes into your heart and that fertile mind of yours you'd like to share with our audience as your final words?
Know that society is the solution. You don't have to bear up all the weight yourself. The body of mankind will solve all the problems that exist everywhere by the awareness of each and every single person, transmitted to us through our experiences, which release our wisdom. That's all that needs to take place, and it's already happening. I can feel the gooiness all the way from one South Florida location to another. And I want to take an opportunity to say, Happy Father's Day, Jim. You are many things like a father figure to many of us. But gentlemen, anyone can be a father, but it takes a real man to be a dad. And there we go. And that means those four quadrants: the mind, the emotion, the spirit, and the soul. Thank you for bringing all four of those into us. Thank you for saying yes to this one. Thank you for saying yes to this one. And now, September 5th, we'll have this one. So it just, thank you, Jim. Thank you, men. Thank you, everyone here. And you're not just going to hear it, a real man, once, but we're going to hear it twice. And thank you, DJ Justice, for getting us live to monetize within a week. So we're going to rock this thing out, Jim. And we're going to see the dedication to the three men who in our lives collectively that are being aware and with wisdom up in heaven. My grandnephew, Darian Gordon, Dreammaker, Jim Doty, Tony's dad, and Robert H. Baer, the Big Bear, dedicating this book to all three of you.